In this video, we work on assignment 8, which is geocoding underground storage tanks here in Portland metro area. And we're specifically going to be looking at Gresham. So there's a couple things. One, you're going to want to download this assignment 8 information here, which should take you to OneDrive. And from that, just select the download here. We have a streets, looks like we have two files in this folder, a layer file and a shape file. And then we have this non-spatial underground storage tank cleanup site text file, which comes from the Department of Environmental Quality. And I have the link there. If you go back to our lesson 8, it's this hyperlink here. That's just where the data comes from, and it's this text file here. So once you've downloaded that information, you're going to jump back into Arc Pro, and you should start in here with your streets layer and your underground storage tank text file. And where I'm grabbing that from is just under Insert. I've just started a new map project here essentially, and I'm adding a folder connection, and then that folder connection is linked over here to my assignment 8 folder. And here's the data that we're looking at. So I just drug this streets shape file over and this underground storage tank cleanup site. And you can look at the underground storage tank cleanup site non-spatial data. And what we're going to do, first step, is we're going to create an address locator using this streets layer from Portland metro area. And the best thing to do is just look in chapter 7 of your textbook, and it'll walk you through the process of how to create a locator. But best thing is here, it will start off in the analysis ribbon, and we're going to use this tools. And it might have a recent one that you've used here, but you can also just search it by typing in there create locator tool, and it will bring up this geocoding tool here. So we're going to click on that. And then we're going to walk through, the dialog box essentially on how to fill this out. So we're going to create this address locator in the United States. We're going to be using our streets layer, and the role we're going to be doing as a street address. And then we need to fill in some of these parameters here. So a few of them are required, so they'll have an asterisk next to them. And we want to fill in the left house number, so that would be left address, and then left address 2, right address 2. And sometimes the more you fill out here, the better off it is. But the critical ones that you need to put in here today will be the left, right address. You make sure you have the street name. I don't know why they put that down here in the middle, but it's a required one as well. I usually overlook it. We keep coming down here. In our database, we have left county and left city, right county, right city. So we're going to put those in. So we have left city, and we'll scroll down to left city. And then below that, we should have right city. Below that, we have left county. And right county. You have to be very specific in this. It might take you multiple times to get what you're looking for in terms of the same parameters I have, but you definitely want to make sure everything is identical here. I think I'm just going to double check that I don't have anything. I think I do have. Yeah, we have one more. We're going to maybe use left zip, right zip. Find where that location is. So we have left zip and right zip. Okay, and then the language code here, and we can rename this as well. So I'm going to put this into my chapter 8 folder. So we'll go into 8 folder here. And then I've created one here that we can run as well, but you can just rename this, Metro. And then the language type, we want to make sure that that's set to English. We'll go ahead and hit run. And you're going to have, I think it's 118 messages. There's some problems with this database. Obviously, it's not perfect. You can use the ArcGIS World address locator. There's other address locators we can download from Metro RLIS, but for the sake of this project, this is completely fine. So we'll just let this build here. And it usually doesn't take more than maybe a minute, something like that, to run. And then the next step is once we've created this address locator, we're gonna use that to geocode the addresses. Basically, we're gonna pull out. So there are some warnings. So I just usually just close out. You can read those. I think there's 118, 116, something like that. Just note that. Go ahead and pin the geoprocessing here. I don't know why it doesn't like being pinned, but next step here is then to geocode this this non-spatial data set here. So we're going to right click on that and go to geocode table. And we're going to go to the tool. And then we have, so this is going to be, the input feature there, the input locator. So we're going to pull that from our drop down. So that was the Metro address locator. And again, you need to put in a few parameters here. So we're going to put in the site address. A few of them, the database actually figures out what needs to go in there, which is good. It's going to, I've run this a couple times, so it's going to give you, wherever you can browse and send it to your chapter 8 folder if you want, which is where I'm sending that. So it's going to be Geocode 3. We're going to hit save. The critical step in this is that down here on the bottom, you want to change this and make sure you click address, select that, and then go ahead and hit run. And sometimes it usually takes, I have to click on it twice to get it to execute. And then we'll see how well we do here. I want to say we match about 74%, maybe a slight bit more. That's, anything around that is probably pretty good. I've had some really good databases where we've matched in the 90%. But I've also had some really trouble databases where we matched around in the 60%. So really what it comes down to is, the quality of information that's in this data set and then the quality of information that's in your streets data set. Generally, I say the streets data set is probably pretty good. And then this information just depends upon how many people are inputting information. But we'll let that process. We're getting close to the end here. You can go back in and rematch addresses. For this assignment, I don't really want you to do that. Just run the tool. It would take us quite a bit of time because there's just so many darn records in here. And once it's done, it should add that Geocode 3 to our virtual map here. So yeah, it matched just under 75%, which is pretty darn good. And we could start the rematch process. We're going to say no at this point because we're just going to run with the data as it is. And if you want to, you can zoom in and look at this. These are all underground storage tanks. So most of these, not most of them, a majority of them are heating oil. So for individual households, but the point of this whole process is that we took a non-spatial database here and we assigned a point location based upon an address using an address locator, which is pretty darn slick. Now, what I want you to actually do is go through this data, and the way that I did that is by just creating a selection. So I selected by attributes, and I'll let you work through that process. But I wanted you to find just the underground storage tank sites that were in the city of Gresham and were heating oil sites. So that data should look something like this. And there are there's a little bit of problems with the database too. There's 5 points that are the city code is Gresham, which is capital G, lowercase rest of the word, which when you look at the attribute table for this geocoded data, if we scan through it by city, most of the cities are classified by all uppercase letters. So just verify that. There was going to be 5 data points that are outside of this. There's also a couple outliers here that are miscoded in the geodatabase, but just go with it. And then, once you've gotten the data into the city of Gresham, essentially, and you are just showing the heating oil sites, I want you to go ahead and insert a layout, and your layout should be something, when you're done, that will look something like this, where I've done my 11 by 17, I've inserted guides, and I've made my map. I can then save my project, and I can go through in my map here and go ahead and share it. And so once you share that, go ahead and export your layout as a PDF, and that should be the process that we want to do for assignment 8. So let me know if you have any other questions, and hope you have a good day.